Addod Solutions. Add-on desired.
Welcome to Addod Solutions Current Affairs Program. I am Venkatesh Reddy. Now let us try to look into the articles that are relevant for the exam. The most important article that is dealing with Jal Jeevan Mission. What is this Jal Jeevan Mission? And according to states, we have got a surprising results that Bihar was on the bottom 5 states in the performance of Jal Jeevan Mission, and which has elevated itself into the top 5 states. Now let us try to look into what are the states that are providing water with pipe connections to each and every household. Goa tops the list, Telangana second, and Haryana, Bihar and Gujarat are the states that are in the top 5, and Assam, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, UP, West Bengal. West Bengal covers only 11.13% of state's population that is having pipe connection that for the water. Now what is this Jal Jeevan Mission? Jal Jeevan Mission is envisaging supply of 55 liters of water per person per day. Do not get confused, 55 liters not for the one family. This is for one person per day, and to every rural household through functional household tap connections. Functional household tap connections. With this functional household tap connection, the mission is intending to provide 55 liters of water to each person per day. In this way, this mission is envisaging to provide tap connections to each and everybody or each and every household in the rural area, and this is also having at a district level, state level and the metropolitan cities, all the levels there is a intention of giving water through the functional household tap connections by 2024. In this process, Goa has already achieved that 100%, and the other states, Telangana achieved 100%, Haryana, Bihar and other areas are almost achieved. It's 85% or even more than 85% of the target is already achieved. And what is the importance of this and how it is to be improved over a period of time? What are the relevant areas in this? Now most of the diseases are waterborne diseases. What are maybe cholera or maybe any other diseases, and then gastroenteritis, acidity, all these are also caused due to the problems of waterborne diseases only. Now because of all these things, there may be all possibility of people fall sick, or even any other diseases like polio, or maybe some other diseases are deadly enough, are also caused by the one of the reason is waterborne disease. Now if this water is not properly acquired, if this water is not properly treated, then what happens? There may be all possibility of increasing the health burden over the country as well as the personal health burden, and this may be leading to a demographic burden instead of becoming a demographic dividend over a period of time, as these people cannot be able to contribute to the GDP of the country as well as the personal growth of the family, or even the socio-economic conditions of the family cannot be uplifted. It is under the Ministry of Jal Shakti. Who is the nodal agency? Ministry of Jal Shakti is the ministry that is running this program. Through functional household tap connection, what it wanted to do, it want to deliver 55 liters of water per person per day. This is the Jal Shakti mission. The next one is center to Supreme Court, that national security force for judges not feasible. What is this and how is it relevant? Recently, we have seen that a person has hit judge when he was on the walking with the auto, and the judge was spot dead. Now, after a while, which found out to be not an accident, which was a planned murder, and then Supreme Court, Chief Justice of India has told that it is to be taken proper care to the justice or the judges, so that there will be a possibility of delivering the justice without any fear or favor. If there is a threat of life, then there may be all possibility of affecting the fearless decisions. So to do that, what the Supreme Court Chief Justice of India has told to the government, that try to inculcate a force that will be of safeguarding the judges. Now, the government of India has told that it is not possible to form a national security agency for this protection of judges, and this will be taken care by the each respective states alone, which will be coming under the states only. And here the Supreme Court is saying that it is not to evade, it is the responsibility of the state to take the responsibility to protect the citizens for the purpose of protecting the fearless and no favorism judgments to be passed, as we believe that we are not supposed to punish any culprit and we are not supposed to leave any culprit as well. The same thing here, to deliver a fearless and no favoritism judgments, then we are supposed to protect the judges. We have to make sure the environment is feasible and conducive for the judges for this purpose. Here it is very much important article, a report that is at odds with access to knowledge. Just let me give you what is the topic behind this. About 6 or 7 years earlier, there is a bookstall, Rajeshwari bookstall in campus of Delhi University, that is located in North Delhi campus. And then here what happened, this Xerox shop used to copy some of the material or some of the pages from the standardized books that are published by renowned, most renowned scholars, that those may be from international authors or maybe from international universities like Oxford or any other university. Now here in this situation, when these people, Oxford people, has noticed that this Xerox shop is copying the material and giving the Xerox of the main copy or the original copy to the students, then they have filed a suit against this Xerox shop in the court of law under the intellectual property rights. And then what happened, the court has told that you can copy a material if it is in the purpose of imparting the skill or knowledge or even in education purpose. There is no violation of the principles of intellectual property right. This case judgment was this, and this was appealed again from a single judge bench to a multi-member judge division bench. Both of them has upheld the decision of the single judge bench also, like it is no violation on the intellectual property right. But then later on what happened, there was a appointment of parliamentary committee to look into this matter. In this area, section 52 1A tells that there is a feasibility or there is a purpose. If the purpose is genuine, if the purpose is a fair usage, this is fair usage of the data, then there is no violation of the intellectual property right. Now this committee has come to a conclusion that we have to amend the section 52 1A so that there should be a limitation on the number of copies to be produced, and also there should be a limitation on only the government institutions are having the permission to copy this. Then how is it possible? This is not possible to confine only to the government purpose, or it is not even able to confine only for a very few number of copies. How can you monitor, and who will monitor whether the government organization or whether the 100 copies, or it is completely arbitrary that how many number of copies are reproduced, nobody knows. Then how can you establish any quantitative measure or quantitative restriction on the number of copies to be reproduced or can be copied? Here in this situation, the author is opined that there is no means of monitoring this quantitative. And then the next thing is, the very purpose of any scholar or author to write any book is to impart the skill in the generations to come, and here to excel. This is the means, an intellectual property right or a book is a means of to achieve the ends of knowledge and improvement. A book is a means to achieve the ends. The end is knowledge. The book is just a means. Now, when you are working towards achieving some ends, and you are supposed to maintain the means, and then means cannot be a violation on the principles of the intellectual property rights. Here there are few things where that opinion that harvest of knowledge motivate the creative activity of authors and inventors in order to benefit the public. Therefore, the rights of publisher are only a means to an end. It is not the end itself. The publisher is not the end itself. Publisher is just a means to achieve the ends that are of knowledge, imparting the knowledge. In report, The standing committee notes that the distress that conflict between educational institutions and copyright owners does not bode well for the overall literary culture and image of the country. The committee opines that this will be a bad image for the country when you are violating the principles of intellectual property right, but this is not a violation of the principles of intellectual property right, whereas it is just the means that we are using for the inculcation of better knowledge. Here this has brought up some other area where amount of gross enrollment ratio, GER. What is GER? Gross enrollment ratio. Now here this is having multi layers. Gross enrollment ratio at pre-primary and higher education. In pre-primary, we are having Article 21A under 86th Amendment Act. That was a case based on this, where we have brought in this Article 21A for the purpose of free and compulsory education for all the children who are in the age of 6 and 14. Now here there is no provision for this higher education such as free and compulsory education. There was a person who filed a case, but the judges has told that there is no need of this compulsory education for a higher level of education. It is maybe a responsibility of the government to provide the primary or middle school education, but it is the choice of the citizen to pursue a higher education or not. And as and when there is a possibility for the government can work towards the provision of a free higher education for all the citizens. Now here in this situation, the higher education is divided into three ranges. One is only a privilege. If anywhere in the range of less than 15% of gross enrollment ratio in the higher education, then it is a very few people who are privileged enough are getting the opportunity to get educated in the higher education. This is treated to be as a privileged section of education if gross enrollment ratio is less than 15%. If gross enrollment ratio is in between 15% to 50%, this is known as a massification of the literacy or higher education. If this is beyond 50% of gross enrollment ratio, then this is called universalization of higher education. We are working towards the universalization of primary education, then it is a distant dream for our country to achieve the universalization of higher education, whereas our present situation in 2020 is 27.1% of people are enrolling in the higher education, where we are in the stage of middle stage, where it is massification or the mass higher education stage we are into. And here in this situation there are many differences that are having in our society. Both socio-economic differences are there, where according to their social strata there are many differences. Higher like general category people are enrolling more percentage, and only 15% of out of this 27% there are again differences. Some sections of population are enrolling higher percentages and some other sections are enrolling in lower percentage of gross enrollment ratio. When there are economic differences are there, social differences are there, if you are curtailing the availability of information based on the principles of intellectual property right, then here we are again creating a barrier for the people to get educated, whereas this education should be a free flow for the entire community or the country. So we are not supposed to create any barriers in the form of intellectual property. So that what is the other opinion that the author is having is that if you are educating, if you are allowing the people to get educated, anyway the students are not the market for the authors that are of reference books, that are not a regular curriculum books we are talking about, that are of reference books which are available only in libraries, that are maybe 30 or 40 different authors are there. Anyway, students are not the market for this kind of authors that are well renowned people and which are of quite expensive, and students are not the market. and the same students who are now students will be turning into a well renowned scholars or maybe the intellects who will be the customers later. So by allowing now to copy the text for the purpose of education or imparting the skills, then you are creating market in the future. So this will be having a positive impact but not the negative impact over a period of long term, where it will be creating market for the future and nothing less. It is not compromising on the present market also. It is only allowing the judges are with all the constraints, allowing the only education industry or the only the students to copy this only for the purpose of reproducing or only for the purpose of imparting the knowledge that has been allowed. So this amendment is not at all required, and this is a ill will or a flawed view of the judgment upon where the judges has upheld the copying of the reference books. Now let us try to look into areas where it is important. Gross enrollment ratio is 27% to 27.1% now. Intellectual property rights. Intellectual property rights are the rights given to person over creations of their minds. Creations of their minds alone, like inventions, literary work, artistic work, symbols, names and images used in commerce. That can be an art, that can be a music composer, that can be like a story. Like recently also many times in film chamber there will be people who will be fighting that this is my story, this is my song, this is mine, etc, etc, etc. Now what is this mine? So there should be some own creation in that. It is not something that is copied or something like that. One should be having their control over the creation of out of their mind. So that is what intellectual property right. Now to create an exclusive rights over the use of his or her creation for a certain period of time, and if you want to use it, then you have to get the permission from the creator with paying a royalty or some amount of money for the creator. These rights are outlined under Article 27 of Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which provides for the right to benefit from the protection of moral and material interest resulting from authorship of scientific, literary or artistic productions. What is the purpose? Moral of the identity of the creator must be prevailed, and then he must be also having the material rights. The importance of intellectual property right was first recognized the Paris Convention in 1893 and Berne Convention in 1886. This is administered by the World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO. This is the organization that is administering now this intellectual property right, and in local also we have intellectual property law is also there. And intellectual property rights are customarily divided into two main categories. Those are copyright and rights related to copyright. What are copyrights? The rights of authors of literary and artistic works such as books, other writings, musical composition, paintings, sculptures, computer programs are protected by copyright for a minimum of 50 years after the death of the creator. Then intellectual property right, industrial property right. Industrial property right can be divided into two main areas: protection of distinctive signs. Protection of distinctive signs in a particular trademark and geographical indications. Now this trademarks distinguish the goods or services of one undertaking from those of other undertakings. Now GS, geographical indication, is talking about any local specific variants, that may be basmati rice or maybe Tirumala laddu or maybe like many different Ongolu Gitta. These kind of different very local features must be there, and only these local people will get authority over that to trademark and then sell it in the market, so that they will be getting benefited. Dharmavaram or Kanchipattu or some different articles that are got the GI mark. And way again, like many times it is been asked already, which of the following articles has got the GI mark recently, etc. So there is a all possibility of getting the question again in the coming years to come, either 2021 or maybe 2022. Wetland. Now wetland waddle. What is this wetland waddle? There are two rhinoceros, one-hand rhinoceros started enjoying in the wetland. That is a first flood in the Brahmaputra region, that is in Assam state. What is that? A pair of one-horned rhinoceros enjoying first wave of floodwater in Pobitora. Where is this? Pobitora Wildlife. Pobitora Wildlife Sanctuary is in the state of Assam, that is in the region of Brahmaputra. Now, what are wetlands and how are these important? What are the conventions that are covering these wetlands? We will be learning about this. Wetlands are the areas that are predominantly controlled by more availability of water, or the groundwater table is sufficiently well at the surface layer of the land itself. That can be nearby the coastal area, that can be a pond, that can be a lake, or that can be artificially created by the human being, that can be paddy field, or that can be mangrove, that can be. Wetlands are the areas where water is primary factor controlling the environment and the associated plants and animal life. This controls the associated plant and animal life. They occur where the water table is at or near the surface of the land. What is meant by water table? At which depth water is available. The deeper the availability of water table, the drier the surface layer. The higher, or if it is available at the surface layer itself, then it is called available water table at the surface layer itself. These are the areas that are controlling, and depends upon the availability of water, we qualify this as the wetland. Now this will be controlling the animal or maybe the plants. They occur where the water table is at or near the surface of the land, or where the land is covered by water. These can be marshy land also, peatlands also. What are meant by marshy and what is meant by peatland? Marshy lands or peatlands are the areas that are predominantly covered by water throughout the year, or maybe for a long period of season. Now, what are the areas that are there? At the foothills of Himalayas. Now we know that many rivers are flowing downstream from the Himalayas, and these are submerging under the pebbles that are deposited here, and then they are re-emerging on the land. These areas where they are re-emerging on a wide scale are called marshy lands, or the peatlands, that are completely covered by water, and there is a distinctive type of flora and fauna is available in this region. And like, what is the importance of this? The very importance of this is it is indicating the level of pollution. If pollution increases, the wetlands will be reduced in number. And then apart from that, wetlands are the areas where this will be capturing the carbon dioxide or maybe some other harmful gases that are polluting the environment. Due to this, what happens? They will be controlling the rate of increase of or rate of growth of the temperature over a period of time after the industrial revolution, which is a prime cause of concern for a human being now, to safeguard ourselves, as we are predicting that by 2100 we may be reaching to the stage of 2 degrees centigrade higher than the temperature what it used to be in 1850s. This will be causing undulating of these many areas with the waters by increasing the sea water level. And here Ramsar Convention is the convention that is covering the wetlands. Now what is Ramsar? Ramsar is a city in the country of Iran. It is a convention on wetlands that was signed in 1971 in the Iranian city of Ramsar for protection of wetlands and their resources. Now there are 42 Ramsar sites in India listed under the Ramsar Convention. What is the purpose of Ramsar Convention? The convention works on 3 pillars. One is wise use, to work towards the wise use of wetlands. We are not supposed to exploit. Now we are maybe coastal regulating zones, CRZs are there. Now many people are taking up the developmental activities along the coastal region. Due to this, we may be losing the marine ecosystem, as most of the marine life is living on the coastal area only. So whenever you are taking up these activities, developmental activities, then this will be causing disturbance as well as pollution on the marshy lands. Now this will be a trouble for the forests that are salt tolerant forests. List of waterlands, wetlands are international importance. First, they will be identified, designate suitable wetlands under the Ramsar list to effectively manage those. And international cooperation, to bring cooperation internationally over the transboundary wetlands. If there are transboundary wetlands, then there should be a cooperation from both the sides. and shared wetlands and the shared species. What are wetlands? A person, as per the broad definition of Ramsar Convention, wetlands are areas of marsh. Marsh means area covered by water. Fen, peatlands are water for long, that area covered by water for long time, and whether natural or artificial, permanent or temporary, with water that is static or flowing, fresh or brackish, salt, including areas of marine water. The depth of water at a low tide does not exceed 6 meters. All these areas are coming under the wetlands only. Now, what are the examples? Marine and coastal areas. Now, all the coastal areas are coming under the wetlands only. And estuaries. Estuaries are areas where you are having an inland penetration of the water. Now, lakes and rivers and marshes and peatlands, as we have already discussed, marshes and peatlands are the areas that are covered under water for long time. And groundwater and human-made wetlands such as rice paddies, shrimp ponds and reservoirs, these all are the areas where we will be qualifying as the wetlands, and most productive zones are wetlands only. So, it is very much important to conserve the wetlands for the purpose of both as a carbon sink as well as the better production of the sea life and other life as well. Addod Solutions Current Affairs program for daily updates on the current affairs. Thank you.
Addod Solutions. Add-on Desires.